You know without you I'm so lonely. When you're not here, 911 calling. Into your heat again, I'm diving. Darling you, baby.
Hi, we're three K-pop darlings, just chatting K-pop. I'm Mama Jane,
Missy,
and Baby K,
and I'm Missy too.
This is our special guest today.
We're so excited to have Missy too here with us today, because we're going to talk about a group that she is like the guru of.
The
Master.
Facts.
And we're super excited because I know nothing, and all of you know I know nothing. Big zeros.
Yep.
I didn't do any homework at all. Nothing. Zero. Zip.
Well, and I was hoping there might be a little bit, because then you could ask me a couple questions, but we'll just go over it and
Question.
yeah, so
She normally just comes up on the spot. So.
awesome. So the group we're going to be talking about today is EXO, and I have loved EXO since about 2013, and Lay is my bias, obviously, but I love all members equally because I've loved them for so long. So I'm just going to give a quick rough history of them and then kind of a little explanation of each member. So EXO debuted on April 8th, 2012, and they are under the company of SM. They started out as a 12-member group, but now are only 9 members because a few members have left since then. They started out with 8 Korean members and 4 Chinese members, and they were split up into 2 groups. You have EXO K and EXO M, and the K stands for Korean and the M stands for Mandarin. And the intent of the group was to have EXO K to promote in Korea, and EXO M would always promote in China, and they would simultaneously promote. So anytime they released a new comeback, they would literally do it on the same day, nearly the same time. I don't know how time zones would work, but they would always get the same exact songs. It's just it would be in those languages, so Korean and Mandarin. I'm good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How
How did that go?
we'll get there.
That sounds complicated. That poor company.
So EXO K consisted of the members Suho, which was the leader, Baekhyun, Dio, who were the main vocals, Chanyeol, who was the rapper, and then Sehun and Kai were the dancers of the group. So Kai is the main dancer, with Sehun being a lead dancer. Then in EXO M, you have Chris, the leader, Luhan and Chen are main vocals, Xiumin and Tao were rappers, so like sub-rappers or lead rappers, and then Lay was their main dancer of the group. And again, they would promote in the different regions on the same time.
Was that 6 and 6?
Mm-hmm, 6 and 6. So 4 members, the 4 Chinese members plus 2 Korean were in EXO M. And then all the other Korean members were in EXO K. And then we kind of get into the fandom name, EXO L. And that's why it kind of gets confusing. The L stands for love and is the link between K and M because it's the only alphabetical letter between those two.
Ah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
so
cute.
they're the link between the two.
Yeah.
And that link is love.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
That is adorable. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
And then one
What
of
comes
my
up with this stuff? Like, are there
Cheesy
people sitting in a
people
room
like
going,
us.
how are we going to make that work?
well, and I know some groups are really good at like coming up with the name, but then like their reason for the fandom isn't so creative, or they have a very creative backstory to it, but then the name kind of like people are
Falls
like,
short.
well, why is it called that? And I know a lot of people are like, well, why is it called XOLs? And that's the reason, because they were the link. Alright, so to go kind of more into what their debut was like, SM introduced them first as like in these small clips, like where they're either dancing or singing. And then they released their debut song, which was Mama, which we were about to watch.
I never
But
got
we
it.
put it on pause and never got back to it.
Right, well, Oh, you've seen our behind the scenes. We do this a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks.
And with Mama, it introduced their group as these aliens that come from the exoplanet, and they have superpowers, and they've come to Earth to save Earth from the Red Force.
This sounds like a cool movie. Or a, Netflix series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so each member has their own designated superpower, and I'll go over that when we get to the individual members. And then they released their first studio album and then a repackage. And the repackage came out with Growl. And Growl was like a wildfire. Everybody loved it. It was huge. It was their first million-seller album. And apparently that was the first time in 12 years that any South Korean act has sold over 1 million albums.
Wow.
That's awesome. Wow.
So
Is that in Korea or worldwide million?
I think it's worldwide, because it was like the collective amount of all of the XO album combined. So they started seeing success, and then between their third comeback, which is Overdose, and the Call Me Baby album, which will be Exodus, 3 of the Chinese members decided to sue SM for mistreatment, and tried to get their contracts canceled. So first was Chris, the leader of XOM, then Luhan followed after, and then Tao followed shortly after they did. So with those 3 members gone, around that time, SM started kind of dropping the ball on this idea of XOK and XOM being 2 separate groups, and they kind of combined them into one, so it was just XO.
Did they rebrand? Or did they just,
it was
slowly
It was-
over time smush them?
It was kind of more a slow over time, because there were still some incidences after the fact where it was like, here's the picture of the 6 XOK members, and then you would get a picture of just the 3 XOM members. And so it was a slow, gradual, we're just gonna start doing the group as a whole. But they were still recording each album in Korean and Mandarin. But all 9 of them were participating in this batch, at this point.
Yes, in the original, it was just so the XOK and XOM albums, they would have the same songs, but K would be in Korean, M would be in Mandarin.
So when they would create these albums,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to understand. So when they would create these albums, does that mean that whoever was I watch a lot of these other K-pop things, and they have 13, 17 who has 13 members, and they all kind of sing. So if we're doing it in 2 different languages, does that mean just the 6 people in the one are singing, and then but they're singing the same song? So you might have the solo in this one, but then someone else has it in the Mandarin one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Ooh, that's weird. So how would that work if you went on tour?
I don't know if they ever toured together.
So they didn't start touring together until they started doing more of them. It depended on where they were. So if they were China, they would sing it in Mandarin. If they were in Korea, they would, and basically anywhere else, it would be in Korean.
So that would mean that if you weren't the 6 that were in the XOK, you were kind of more of a backup on stage.
That
and you
is
didn't perform.
that is the fight that started not fight, but the thing that started
Yeah, because
the
a lot of
members
the
wanting
3
to
members
sue.
felt like SM was treating the Korean members
Better.
better.
Well,
Yeah.
from an outside perspective, who knows nothing about EXO, that inherently looks that way because you're treating them very differently, and you've segregated them really, right?
Well,
Yeah.
from what I understand is that the times XOK and XOM, they would always promote separately. So they would strictly promote in the countries that they were supposed to be in. And then in occurrences where a concert would happen, either their concerts would be separate, or they would come together and figure out how to perform. Because later on, they didn't really start touring outside of Korea and China until those other 3 members had left. So EXO had really become 9 by the time they started doing bigger tours.
It's always interesting.
It's
Yeah.
fun because all the other groups we've talked about are kind of like new. These guys are like been around the business for a while,
They just
right? So
have
they
their-
actually have something for us to like be like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I came in to EXO around the time when the members were leaving. So I was like, I'd be watching one music video or one performance and being like, but there's 12 here, but why is there only 11 or 10 here? Like, it was very confusing at the time as an EXO-L, because this is also when I was really getting into K-pop in general. Like, I was a big Girls' Generation fan, and I strictly listened to Girls' Generation. I only started listening to EXO when Growl popped up in the YouTube suggestions. And that's when I was like, oh man, I'll listen to it. And I was hooked.
Wow.
They got me that fast. Oh, it was so good. I
I
remember
felt for
that.
ATs that part too.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Big K.
I mean, for those who don't know, Missy 2 is the one that got this Missy into K-pop.
We can blame my ex
Yes.
as our addiction to K-pop because he's the one who got me into K-pop.
And then she tried for 7 years and then finally got me with Stray Kids, so.
God's
Wow.
menu.
Not a bad place to be.
Uh-uh.
Felix today.
Felix effect.
Still all.
Effect.
Anyway, so since then, they've toured mostly as a 9-member / 8-member group because the last Chinese member, I'll kind of get a little bit more into when I talk about him, but he's been doing a lot more promoting in China. But he constantly says, like, I'm still an EXO, my EXO brothers, you know, stuff like that. So that kind of gives you a quick history.
If we're looking at EXO now, they're old enough to have either been in or out of the military. So they've gone through that whole weird phase where half your members are gone.
Is
Right?
Kai in the military?
Kai
Yeah,
is
Kai
currently in the military, and
Sehun
Sehun has to go by the end of this year.
And will that be their last month?
Last two. Or well, Sehun will be the last one.
Oh, sorry.
The rest of them have already served,
Mhm.
except for the other member who is Lei, who is the
He's
Chinese member.
Yeah,
so he
yeah,
was-
he's
Chinese.
Yeah. So some of the notable records that EXO holds, because I feel like a lot of new gen K-pop fans are like, EXO's not that popular, and I'm like, you have no idea because you weren't there when it happened.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just gonna go off some of
That's fair.
like the notable records that I know of.
Okay.
So they made it into the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most day songs at Mama.
Wow.
They performed at the Olympics with CL. Like, CL did her performance, they did their performance, but they did one at the Winter Olympics.
That's cool.
They hold the first, second, and fourth record for fastest sold out concert tours.
Ooh.
With their concerts selling out in 0.2 seconds, 0.4 seconds, and their first tour was sold out in 1.47 seconds.
What the crap?
How did that happen? Oh my
I-
gosh!
I-
now I'm like panicked.
I would
Like,
say
we
like,
should get
like,
tickets.
I couldn't get. Woo!
with the groups that we tend to go to, like ATs, Stray Kids, and like the boys and stuff, they are hard to get, but they are not this
Hard.
level.
Like,
Okay.
I've seen clips and pictures of EXO-Ls. Well, they'll go to fan cafes and they'll log into every computer they possibly can to try and get tickets.
Yeah, on those internet cafes, they try to log into everything so that they can try to get tickets.
So
And-
you're saying EXO's kind of like Beatles status.
Facts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
I'm
that's
super
kind of-
excited to like. Now I wish I would have done my homework.
I think, well, I think putting them as Beatles status really is one of the better things, especially for us newer K-pop fans, where, you know, we don't have to deal with, you know, all of that. Like, we're like, oh crap, this happened. And it's kind of like the things we heard about with the Beatles. And, you know, Beatles were a long time ago. We can't go to their concerts at the moment.
Sadly.
EXO is going to come up with
We're dead.
concerts.
That's true.
SM, you are doing concerts. I need you to send Sehun to the military
Get him back fast.
and get him back fast so that we can have a world tour.
Have a world tour.
With Lay. I don't care if he's not part of SM anymore, we're doing it. Anyways. I'm not adamant about
Wow, that is some passion on that end of the table, Missy.
this. And I'm not even the biggest XOL.
That's true.
I need an EXO concert. Like, I half expected SM to be like, okay, Baekhyun's back, let's get everybody. And then they dropped the ball, in my opinion. They dropped the ball, and then Kai had to go.
Because they dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, so, I know who Kai is. So,
Yes.
and I wouldn't have known who EXO is. But it's interesting because of Kai, she's in the background doing this. Baby K. Okay. Anywho,
Really
people
good
wouldn't. I think that there's like people like me who are really new to K-pop and who stand and are like, you know, like whirlwind dropping down some kind of giant hole into Wonderland, and wouldn't know who EXO are, but know enough and have been intrigued enough by Kai that I would want to know EXO.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily say Kai would be my bias, but he is a gateway in there. And so
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's really interesting.
Like, I would say, like, if Felix is the gateway for Stray Kids, Kai is definitely the gateway for EXO.
I just
Uh-oh.
had a realization. Almost all of my biases are the gateway
They
bias.
are!
Oh my
Missy
gosh.
has a gateway drug addiction.
Facts.
I also have a realization.
Oh my gosh.
Is that I did not use Felix to get into Stray Kids.
No, you didn't.
It was Ian,
It was
actually.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I
I'm
just,
so proud of you. Good job, baby K.
you broke the mold. Unlike me, apparently that's all I want is the mold.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, so back on EXO. Also, this is one of the things that kind of made me smile. Recently, Melon released a article labeling EXO as the emperors of K-pop.
Nice. Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they did this is because they have 14.6 billion streams accumulatively between their group, their solos, and their subunit songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, in perspective, if we're comparing that to BTS, who is worldwide famous, thank you,
Mhm.
Jen.
Worldwide handsome. Well, worldwide famous also.
Worldwide famous.
Jin will accept any of it. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, where does that sit against BTS? Because I think globally, not maybe if you grew up in Korea, right? But globally, BTS is our exposure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
On global.
Considering
So, like, oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
You're good.
Well, considering that when you say, "Oh, I like K-pop," they're like, "Oh, you mean like BTS?"
BTS.
Yeah.
Which like pisses me
So,
off.
from what I know, BTS, sorry, we're really. Anyways, with BTS, like on Spotify and stuff, they do hold the records for the most streams.
Mhm.
However, what is really cool about Melon is just Korea.
Mhm.
And just the fact that in just Korea, EXO has done 14.6 billion streams
Mhm.
is kind of
Yeah.
awe-inspiring. They hold, from what I have seen, and I know this probably will push on some toes for ARMYs, I believe that EXO holds the top for Melon itself.
No, yeah.
But like with Spotify, it is
So,
BTS,
Mhm.
and
so
Spotify
this
is universal.
14 billion thing
Is on Melon.
is strictly
Strictly
Melon. For,
Melon.
So for Korean.
fans.
Yes.
So,
That's awesome.
because you have to think this is where BTS started. Yes,
Mhm.
they went out
Yeah.
globally and really opened up a market for K-pop worldwide and have done amazing things as ambassadors for K-pop.
Mhm.
Definitely.
But I wonder where they sit in relation to just Korea because this is their home. This is where they
Yeah.
started. This is their
That's true,
place,
because
right?
they're-
So EXO is probably. Sorry. Wow, talking over each other so much today. We're so excited about EXO. Go. She never talks. Go, Kevin.
Go, baby K,
Go.
go!
Okay. Go away.
considering that BTS is like don't have any foreigners in their group.
Mhm.
That's true.
Mm.
They're all
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So
It's
I think
interesting.
I think, and I've talked about this with my cousin, and she is like a big army. She's the biggest army in our group.
But she's
Um,
the biggest army I know personally.
Mm-hmm. But we've talked, and like it depends on which company you go through. Depends on not your like popularity. And granted, if you're part of the big four, you're gonna have more than likely a better start than most groups.
Mhm.
But we've looked at it, and each company has their own like thing that they focus on. And when it comes to SM, they really focus on visuals, performance, and vocals.
Vocals, a lot of
And that's why
vocals.
when I look at BTS, I'm like, BTS are very strong with hip hop and rap. Like,
yeah.
I will always say that they are probably the best rap line in K-pop.
Mhm.
But when I look at EXO, they literally have 4 main vocalists in the whole group,
Mhm.
and they are the top vocalists.
What amazes me about EXO with their vocals is in like, for example, Don't Mess Up My Tempo, there is a whole part that is just them a cappella.
Straight acapella.
Straight a cappella.
So awesome.
And it's like, and you can hear,
when they perform live, you can hear them sing it live.
yeah,
too.
they cut everything, and like they usually go like this to make the XOLs not scream as much. And they're like this, and then they just start singing.
Mhm.
And I love it because you can hear like all
The
of them
harmony.
coming at the different harmonies, at different
The
pitches.
different ad-libs that they add.
Oh my
into.
gosh.
It's
Bacon. I love Bacon. Sorry, he's one of the members.
Okay, so I'm going to put down below a list of things you should see if you don't know who EXO is.
Yes.
And I'll put them on after I've watched them all because, well, yeah, I'm going to do that.
I'll
Well-
give you a list too.
We will help Mama J do her homework well.
They will. I won't.
I mean, you're not
You'll
going
be
to participate in the homework too?
Yeah.
Sure. I'll
Maybe
sit
Kay
there.
has too much of her own homework that she has to do.
I get distracted too.
Facts.
It's easily when it's K-pop.
Uh-huh.
Hi, this is Baby K from the future, and well, we talked about so much about EXO that we need to split it into 2. So, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and see you next week.
Alright, so this has been my explanation of EXO. There's definitely a lot more content than this quick little rundown can give you guys. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope that you guys look into EXO as multi-stands. I feel like people get so wrapped up in like the newer groups because the K-pop industry is, you know, always churning out more groups
They are prolific.
that you don't get the chance to look at the older ones. And I think EXO is definitely one of those ones you want to pay attention to.
I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, we want to thank Miss C2 for coming and talking to us, and we'll see a little bit more of her in another episode, so just stay tuned for that.
Yep.
And if you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. But that's a wrap. Bye from Mama J.
Oh, Miss C.
Bye from Baby K.
And bye from Miss C2.
Peace out.
Okay, so I think we just
Wrap
cut
up?
out my last little part there. Let's just wrap up.
Okay, so this was a quick explanation of EXO. There's definitely so much more that you guys can adventure into.
I'm not wearing my mask. Hang on.
Should I start from the top?
Yeah.
Alright, so
My
this
shirt, cause my shirt's like down. It
Then it
makes
just
me look
looks
like
like-
I don't have my pants on. So,
Facts.
Eyes naked.
fix it. Hold on. There you go.
Okay.
I feel super short.
Okay, that's because you're next to Carly.
Oh my god, I'm so tall
Now
the
you
entire
understand
time.
like, why I was like, I'll sit on the stool in the back.
I mean, I could sit on this side head and like kind of turn.
It's
So I'm
okay.
talking towards you guys because I felt awkward talking just.
We talk to the camera.
Sometimes.
We pretend to
Sometimes.
smile and talk at the camera
Yeah, I forgot to pull the thing down, but it just says look at the camera,
and
smile.
smile.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Our next little clip with Miss K, 2.
Miss C too.
We're gonna have so much fun with this.
I am so sorry. Okay. We'll get that to our
Okay. It's the medicine. I'm just gonna say it.
facts. It's the meds. We are going to get to that on our next clip with Miss C2. But that'll be later.